All right, welcome. Moreri Enterprises here. Now, I want us to look at some of the conventions in mathematics, especially when it comes to one of the key areas where you find kids long after this concept is introduced, we still find kids with problems. In lower upper sixth or in the 11th and 12th grade, we still find students suffering from negative mathematics. How do I say it? You go through your first 4 or 5 years of primary or elementary school just adding positive whole numbers and then touching a lot of fractions here and there and perhaps decimals. Now, where we start struggling really seriously, even though there's a lot of students who struggle with their fractions, decimal percentages, and just whole numbers. But where we struggle really hard and for a long time with that solution is with negative numbers. Okay, so let's talk negative numbers. Is this going to be a usual math class? I bet not. So stick around and let's talk negative numbers. Okay. Now, we will see a lot of convention. Math is a convention, meaning an agreed way to do things. If you see this symbol, it means join two numbers to your left and to your right. It's called a two-number operator. So it's a verb, V dot. It's an action. It means join. So if you say, for example, 6, 8, I would take this 8, I add it to the 6. So I already have 6, and then I'm going to say 8. I can even do like this. And I'm going to do 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I've joined the 8 to the 6 to just have one unique way to say 6 and 8. And one unique way to say 6 and 8 is 10. All right? Now, this is something that I can choose to go very deep, or let me just keep it light. So in fact, 6 and 8, another way to say 6 and 8 is 10. Oh, sorry here. We counted to 14. My bad. Oh my God. Well, you see, we call this silly mistakes, right? I said 14 and I wrote 10. Now, a lot of teachers, be very mindful. Your students, they will have a very bad rapport with what is wrong, what is right after they commit silly mistakes. And they will not even know, oh, why did the teacher mark it incorrectly? Okay. And then if you just bear with them that students can make silly mistakes, then you have to explain all these type of little errors to them. So they will not feel like they're doing the right thing and they're making some unconscious mistakes and they're being penalized heavily for that. Okay. That aside, let's come back. So another way to say 6 and 8 is 14. In fact, there are uncountable ways to say 14. 0 and 14 is 14. 1 and 13, 13 is 14. In fact, negative 3 and 17 is also 14. So you see, where negative number comes into play, that is where we hit a snag. In fact, like I said, there are uncountable ways to arrive at a number because all these numbers are but convention, an agreed upon way. So if you say 14, actually how we make 14, because this is just 1 and this is 4, we make 14 in this way. This one, we call it a 10. 110 like this. And this 4, we say 4 ones like this. So when you have 110 and 4 ones, we call it 14. But this 10 on its own also, 10 on its own is 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So at the end of the day, only ones exist. When we count whole numbers of things. So at the end of the day, ones are the only thing that exists. But to build upon the ones, we have to make a system called place value. So with place value, you're going to see one repeating itself. If we go to a next page, just to drive that point home. If I have 111 as a number, we're going to say this is 100, 110, and 11. So these ones are found in different places. So if we make a place value like this, not looking into the decimal points. So this is the first place, the least significant number digit. And then we go here. So we find 3 place values. So each of the one, they all have different value. So that you can't read the number as 111. It is not a phone number or the number of your door or your street number. You can read a street number 111 because they are just symbols. But if this is a counting numbers where we go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then if we add 1 after 9, we can't find a new digit. We use 1 and 0 and we call it 10. 1 and 1, we call it 11. 1 and 2, we call it 12. So the arrangement is that this 1 here just means 1 at this place. And this 1 here means 10, but there are 1 of them. And this 1 here means 100, and there are 1 of them, right? So this 1 tells us how many hundreds we have. This 1 tells us how many tens we have. And this 1 tells us how many ones we have. So if I should erase this, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to replace the number with, let's say, 222, and with the help of a new color. Colors are good for education. So I'll have 222. Now we have 3 digits, so 3-digit number, especially if we've not yet started counting negative numbers. So this 2 is at the hundreds place. It actually means we have hundreds, 2 of them. That's what this 2 means. And this 2 is at the tens place. It means we have 10, 2 of them. And this 2 is at the ones place. It means we have ones, 2 of them. So that if we do say we have paper money, let's say all our money is a paper money, and we go to the bank and we want 222, whatever currency you're using, let's say you use dollars or euros or francs CFA. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get 6 bills, there's 6 bills, and you're going to get $200 bill or $100 bills, 2 $10 bills, and 2 $1 bills. So altogether you have 222. 2 tens is called 20. We also give it a name 20 or 20, right? So again, let's really see what is going on here. This arrangement is an agreed upon. We agree in math that, or in numbers, or in the world, when we number things, we enumerate things, or we count things, that we're going to count using place value, ones, tens, and hundreds. But these don't really exist. Like 100 don't really mean a thing, except we say 100 means 100 of them, right? You count 100 of them, 100 of them, 1. So that is the real meaning of the 1, 2, at the end of the day. And this 10 also means what? 1. And 10 of them, 10 of these ones, right? And then, of course, the only thing that exists is just one thing, like 1 apple. So if you say 10 apples, it's like 1, 10 of them, right? So again, place value. When you master your place value, it will go from ones to tens to hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions to tens of millions to hundreds of millions to billions to tens of billions to hundreds of billions to trillions to tens of trillions to hundreds of trillions to quadrillion to tens of quadrillion to hundreds of quadrillion to quintillion to tens of quintillion to hundreds of quintillion, and then to sextillion, then you go more, septillion, octillion, nonillion, decillion, like that. Okay, so again, we should understand place value. At least warm up. Try to read numbers right up to 21 digits. So that is a site. You can check our videos on numbers, okay? Now let's rumble. Let's write on, okay? So again, we want to talk negative numbers, okay? Negative numbers. and why they're very compelling. A lot of children will make mistakes with negative number. So we have so many conventions. Again, we started with plus means to join, and minus means to take away, right? To take away. So let's look at how this let's look how these two operators work. Now, the plus, like we said, if you have 8 and 6, if you have 8 and 6, you're joining them, okay? If you have 8 ones and 6 ones, you're joining them, and of course your answer is going to be 14 ones, and 14 ones could be arranged as 110 and 4 ones, okay, if you respect the places, or you just say 14 ones. Every number is that number of ones. 1 million is 1 million ones, okay? So again, but when we have subtraction, let's say we have subtraction and we have 8 minus 6. Now, you have to understand that these two actions are different. Now, with 8 plus 6, there is 8 things that you have in a basket, and then you have 6 also probably in your hand, and you join them. But with 8 minus 6, it's very different. You only have 8 bananas or apples in a basket. And in that 8 apple, you're required to remove 6. So 6 does not exist. 6 is just what you have to remove from the 8. So here 8 is the only thing that exists, right? So again, this is math convention. So it is just an action you take. Okay, so 8 exists here. But here 8 exists and 6 also exists, right? 6 also exists. So you have 8 things, you have 6 things, and you're joining them together. So you have to understand the operation called plus. And then when you go to minus, 6 does not exist. It's just the number you're going to remove from your 8. So with that in mind, we can really talk about negative mathematics. So follow, please. And again, plus and minus, these are action. Plus means join, and minus means take away. So how do you read this one? You say 8 and 6 gives 14. Now, you're going away from using this, the name of this is plus, you say 8 plus 6 equals 14. But this is not the everyday language. This plus is just a symbol in math. 8 plus 6 does not really translate to everyday language. So you say 8 and 6 gives 14. Or you say another way to say 14 is 8 and 6. Or you can say join 8 apples and 6 apples. That means 14 apples. In fact, it does not give 14 apples. It means that 8 and 6 together. You can also just say 8 and 6 apples. Or you can say 14 apples. That one thing also means. So because this equal sign, it's not that it gives. It's like this will go and give something. This equal sign means your right hand side and left hand side are the same way to say something. So there's something called equivalence. And that is what I'm really going to be using here, equivalence. So 8 and 6 is another way to say 14. So it's just one thing exists, one thing, 8 apples and 6 apples. You can just call them together 8 and 6, or you call them together 14. It's not like 8 and 6 then gives another 14 that exists here. No. 8 and 6, another way to say 8 and 6 is 14. Math conventions, they are good if you are one of those very smart kids, or you're one of those kids who were taught in the right way. So here in Moriri Enterprises, we have zero difficulty methodology where we explain things with the use of language. Now, your only problem here would be a language problem. But once your language is not a problem, then you will really find Moriri methodology one of the closest to get your brain or your cognitive faculties to understand almost every concept, the use of language. Now let's go to the next. The next is saying we have 8 apples. We take away 6 from the 8. So this is my 8. This very 8, I'm going to take away 6. And I'm left with 2. So that is easy peasy. So it's some action that you know, and then you just do the action. So every time you have plus or you have minus, you should never get it wrong. But hold on, sometimes we were hungry or we made some silly mistakes, and sometimes we start thinking about something and we break our train of thoughts. Instead of writing 8 plus 6, 14, you just write 10. So those are silly mistakes. Those mistakes are but normal. We are humans. We are not perfect. But with much practice, you reduce your silly mistake. And there's one word we give for that. We say meticulous. To be meticulous means to not be cocky. Oh, I am smart. I am smart. You just write 8 plus 6, 10. I will go to the next. No, we have to be meticulous. Every time we respect every instruction and every problem we are working on. Don't just say I'm smart. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just go in and respect the question every time, because every time is a new test. Every time is a new challenge, even for the best of students. Okay, so let's roll. Yeah, we're fired up. I hope we're fired up. Let's take one more example. Okay, now I want us to see we introduce now some new things, not those plus and negative. We plus and minus. We introduce a very short. So you see, one is short, one is long, right? Now this short one, we're gonna call it negative. We're gonna give it the adjective negative. And this long one is the action that we have been working with, and that action is minus, right? So minus. So that is minus, sorry. And then let's go to the next. A small one, like this, small cross, and then the big cross. Okay. Now this small cross, again, let's give it a proper name, and we call it positive. Positive. And then we go here and we call this plus. This is an action. Plus. Very good. Now, these things are so important. Their sizes are also equally important. But what happens is that even the way you call them, your teachers will start mixing these things up, and it will just lead to a whole lot of problems. Now, negative, positive, these are adjectives. They describe a number, okay? Minus, plus, these are verbs, action. They'll tell you what to do, right? You do something with the numbers to the left and to the right of it. And we just came from explaining it with this number. Join, that is the action. Join 8 and 6. We join, we have 14. You have 8 and remove 6 from the 8. We remove the 6 from the 8. We had 2. So plus and minus here are verbs, actions. Positive, negative and positive, or positive and negative here, these are adjectives. They tell us the nature, the kind. What kind? What kind of thing is it? That is an adjective. It tells us what kind. A small thing, a big thing, a red thing, a black thing, a positive thing, a yellow thing, a negative thing. So it answers the question, what kind? That is adjective. Hello, we're learning English here, the English language, okay? So let's hit it. So if I give a question respecting every way, shape, or form a question should be given, negative, this is what? Positive 3. If I write something like this, you're never going to make any mistake. I say positive 3 plus positive 4. So you're going to read it correctly. You're going to read this one as positive 3. It tells you what type of 3 is. Positive 3. Meaning that the nature of your whole you have three positives like this. Imagine these little people are walking around positive. So positive 3 means little 3 people. They're called positive. So you have this. And here it says little 4 people called positive, and that is positive 4. And then in the middle here, there's this action. This action is nothing but a verb, and it tells us what to do with this positive. It says join them. Take these ones now and join them. And when you join them, what particular one number you can use instead of saying 3 and 4, also positive 3 and positive 4, what can you say to just look at all of them like that one word? And that word, if you join them, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that will give us positive 7. See, positive 7. So this is it, my friends, my students, my sons, and my daughters, Moreri ambassadors, the world at large. This is it. When you start learning positive number, it is an adjective that describes a number. So let's take 2 examples, positive 3, and here we say negative 3. You see, just small dash like that means negative, not the big one that means minus. So this means we have numbers, 3 bodies like this, and they are Mr. Positives, 3 of them. And negatives here means we have Mr. Negatives, 3 of them. Okay, so that's the meaning of negative 3. It tells us a particular type of thing. So imagine there's an apple with a symbol there wearing a shirt. Okay, so you have 3 positives and you have 3 negatives. So that's the meaning to describe this. And now we can understand this in many ways. We can understand this in many ways. We can also understand positive and negatives like this. That if we are standing on a bridge, and then on that bridge, you are in the middle here. If you walk 1 step to the right, we call it positive. So you are 1 step to the right. You walk a second step again, the same. You are 2 steps to the right. You walk another step again to the right, you're 3 steps to the right. So 1, 2, 3. And then negative would just mean the opposite. You're in the middle of the bridge. Instead of going right, you go left. Exactly 1 step, you say negative 1. Exactly 1 step again, that direction, negative 2. Exactly 1 step again, that direction, you say negative 3. So again, you see, negative could be understood as a shirt. Positive, negative, 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 or positive is also a shirt, positive, positive, positive. Or you can now say it is opposite of one another. Positive means going right, negative means going left, okay? So again, we could arrange that very well so that we put positive 3 here. But again, I want to respect the convention that I'm using. I'm making a small that, and here a small dash like that, negative 3. Okay, so if I move 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps to the left of my sleeping point, that's my rest, I'm at rest at this point, that is negative 3. If I go right from that point, I go 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, equal steps. So that will be positive 3. So again, you can choose. If you want to switch it, you say going left is positive, going right is negative, is also fine. Going up is positive, going down is negative, is also fine. But what you realize is that one is the opposite of the other. Okay? So let's see what we want to do finally. So finally, there is this confusion. This big one is plus and this one is minus. But this small one here is positive and this small one here is negative. So if we understand that there are these 4 symbols and they mean totally different things, with the big ones meaning actions, verbs, and the small ones meaning positive, then we can solve any problem we are faced with. So now let's go. Let's see some really crazy problems. Okay. 3 plus 4. This is one way to see a problem. Then you can see another one can say 3 minus 4. And then you can actually go and change this way and say 4 plus 3. And then you can change and say 4 minus 3. Very good. Now, so far, there is no problem here. There's no problem here. What if we start bringing the positive and the negative? Now we begin to run into some problems. Okay. Positive 3 plus positive 4. Positive 3 minus positive 4. Who has started identifying problems? Positive 4 plus positive 3. Positive 4 minus positive 3. See? So, when you see it like this, there is a temptation of having some problems introduced, because what some schools and some teachers will do, they will start calling these two things the same. They will say, yeah, when you have positive and positive. No, this is not positive and positive. This is plus and this is positive. And some will tell you if you have negative and positive, this is not negative, this is minus, and then this is positive. They will tell you positive, positive, and they will tell you if you have negative and positive. Okay, so again, that will not match the understanding that you will get here at the Moreri School. Now, let's take that again, and I want us to handle it one by one. Okay, the first one, let's go. The first one says positive 3 plus positive 4. If you read it like that, and then you do exactly what those words mean, positive 3 means you have a Mr. like this called Mr. Positive, and you have 3 of them. And here you have another Mr. called Mr. Positive, because when you deal with plus, you're joining, it means these two numbers do exist. The number to your left and the number to your right exist. So we have 4 positives here. And we're just going to ask ourselves, we join them. So we say 3 positives and 4 positive. What is another way to say 3 positive and 4 positive? You will see that another way, just using one number, it will be 7 positive. So your answer will be positive 7. Now, what math has also done is that when a number is this type of number, positive, we can just remove the plus. We can just remove the plus. We just say 3 plus 4 equals 7. 3 plus 4 equals 7, right? Or we bring it back. We just say positive 3 plus positive 4 equals positive 7. So, but when it is negative number, we cannot remove the negative. Sometimes that is where all the confusion comes in, because there is a lot of convention in math. We do it like this, we don't do it like this. We can do it like this, we can do it. So after a long while, you start to get confused. So here, I want us to keep our positive. Positive 3 is just the nature of the number, 3 positive. If the positive is not there, it's still the same 3 positives, okay? So positive 3 plus positive 7. Another way to say that is positive 3 plus positive 4, rather. Another way to say that is positive 7. Okay. Now, let's erase that. Let's go to the next one. Let's take positive 4 minus positive 3. Positive 4 minus positive 3. Let's see what our answer will be. Now again, like before, we have 4 positive. take the tablet and get him busy. We have positive, we have 4 positive, like this. And now we see the action here is minus. It means take away. Only positive 4 exists. Positive 3 does not exist. Positive 3 is what you're going to remove from this, because that is what this symbol is telling you. It's telling you you have positive 4. Remove positive 3 from the positive 4. So remove positive 3. 1, 2, 3 of them. And you see your answer is positive 1. Again, don't be lazy. Don't say, my teacher said if I have negative and positive here, let me do something. This is minus. Positive 4 minus is an action. Remove positive 3 from positive 4. So look at this 4 positive. Can you see 3 positive inside this 4 positive? Yes. Take them away. And what is your answer? 1 positive. Very good. Now, let's go to a scenario. Let's go to a scenario. Let's go to a next scenario. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to do positive 4 instead of negative positive 3, instead of minus positive 3 rather, instead of minus, I'm going to use plus. Instead of positive 3 on the other way, I'm going to use negative 3. Positive 4, join it with negative 3. Now, what are the natures of this word, of these numbers? We have 4 positives, like this. So that's positive 4. You can just say 4 positives. And because we are joining, it means this number also exists. So these are 3 negatives that also exist, like this. Now we have to join them together. Now what will your answer be? Now if you understand the way we understand these positive and negative numbers, that if you move left is positive, and if you move right, if you move left is negative and you move right is positive, you're going to come back to nothing. So they are opposite, they will cancel each other. So again, they will cancel each other. You start somewhere, you move right is positive, you move left is negative, you come back to 0. So positive, negative, and it's just one step, you will come back to 0. So they are made to cancel each other out. So if you're joining 4 positives and 3 negatives, which is read as positive 4 plus negative 3, what will happen is that these will cancel this other out. When you join, they come together, they will cancel each other out. This will cancel this out, and this will cancel this out. And you'll be left with 1 positive, and you just go there and respect yourself, and you write that the answer will be positive 1. So positive 4 plus negative 3 equals positive 1. I hope we have understood that. We're bringing this idea of positive and negative being opposites of one another. Opposites of one another. So a positive and a negative means you have nothing. You can also think like positive means I have $1. Negative means I owe you $1. So I have $1 and I owe somebody $1. It means I have nothing. I'm just going to take the $1 and I cancel the $1 that I owe you. I'm going to be left with nothing. Now, positive can mean going right 1 step. Negative means coming left 1 step. So if I have positive and negative steps to give, then I'm going to do the positive step, 1 step right, and I'm going to do the negative step, 1 step back, and then I am still in my position of departure. So again, these are made to cancel each other. So it really shows that when they say positive 4, it means 4 positives. If they say negative 3, it means 3 negatives. These are real things. Don't say plus and minus become minus. Don't do that. In fact, you can only do that if you understand what I'm teaching right now perfectly, which is why these positive and negatives were created in the first place. Okay, it makes the world of opposites possible. It makes symmetry possible. Like my left side and my right side, there are opposites. It makes all these things possible. It makes running this way to go and win, and running these things, running to the left, going farther away from your winning point possible, so that we'll know what is right and what is wrong. Okay, so right and wrong, positive and negative, good and bad. So mathematics could not only deal with positive numbers or counting and having more, we should also count and having less and less from just having nothing. If you go -1, you are worse than just having zero. -1 means I owe you $1. Zero means I have nothing. It's better to have nothing than to owe somebody $1, right? We're gonna talk more about this. So again, let's continue and bring in the next one. Now look at this next one. -3 plus -3 plus -5. -3 plus -5, for example, right? So again, when we say -3, it means we have 3 negatives like this, looking at us, 3 negatives. And because we are dealing with plus, an action that says join, it means the second number also exists. So, and in this second number, we have how many negatives? We have 5 of them. So let's just write them like this, 5 of them. And of course, when you join them, another way you can just say we have 8 negatives. In other words, -8. So easy peasy. So there is no need for you to start memorizing, oh, we have 2 symbols coming together. No. Again, it's because some teachers don't really write these numbers with different sizes, these symbols with different sizes, and they don't train kids to actually speak the English language when they're learning their math. So you see a child will just say -3 plus -5. No, -3 plus -5 equals -8. All right. So again, I want us to speak the real English language when we're learning math so that we can better understand it, because that is how the brain is. In fact, a lot of students are called stupid, foolish, not clever, unintelligent, because they mess up the conventions or things that are accepted like that, or they forget what your teacher told them. But if everybody learns to understand, there are no foolish, stupid, unintelligent kid. If you teach kids to understand, there are no unintelligent kid. So that is what we endeavor to do. Okay, so let's take one more example. This example is this one. -3 plus, let's not do plus this time, let's do minus. -3 minus -2. Okay, because we are doing minus, only one number exists, this -3. So you have to know that in this -3, this is where we will be doing our minus. We have to understand the meaning of this minus. So what is our answer? It says -3. I have 3 negatives, and I remove 2 negatives. So do I see 2 negatives here? If you see it, then kindly respect yourself and remove 2 of them. What is left? 1 negative, or -1. Easy peasy. Now, let's do something else. Let's do -3 and remove +3 from the -3. Let's just stick with this question and see something seriously will happen here. Something really serious. Let's remove this one. I want to remove that. Yeah. and then this one. Good. We still have our -3, and we want to remove but +2. Let's see what is going to happen. We have 3 negatives, remove +2. Do you see +2 here? No, we don't see any +2. So this question is actually impossible. It's like those things that you say, oh, in nursery 1, nursery 2, or kindergarten 1 and 2, or class 1, 2, 3. You say, can you take away 4 from 3 things? And you say, it's not possible. How can we take 4 from 3 things? We only have 3. We don't have 4 to take away. Yeah, so this is one of the things also. When we deal with negative and positive numbers, if you give a question like -3 minus +2, please show me the positives here to take away. You don't have them. But now this is where a little trick comes in. How can we make positive to appear here? We can just go to this thing and add nothing. We add nothing. See how we add nothing. If I add a positive like this, and then I take away the positive with the negative, I have added nothing to this. You see, I still have 3 negatives because the positive and the negative will cancel each other. So this is a very cool trick. So come again and add another positive. And of course, you have to remove it with a negative. And now, can we see 2 positives here? Yes. And you say, can you keep adding positive and negatives forever, ever? Yes. But hey, when you can see enough positive to remove, you just stop, right? So I add 2 positive and I remove the 2 positive with 2 negative, then I have added nothing. But why am I doing that? I'm doing that so that this thing now will be one big group. And this one big group is the same as -3. Because I know these things that I've added, the 0, they'll cancel each other out. So this is still what we have. So now we can come now and do the action. You have -3, which is the same as all this, because we know the reds will cancel and will be nothing. It still means -3 or 3 negatives. Now we can remove 2 positive, just remove 1, remove 2, and our answer is 5 negatives, which is -5. So that is one of the crucial place in all this. In fact, today's lesson has been about this particular problem. And this particular problem, my friend, is the beginning of mathematics. If you understand how to add nothing by adding somethings, then you have what we call critical thinking. And you are a mathematician. A mathematician is born in your family. Once you can do this, and you will see all of mathematics will be introducing some smart idea like this, and that will help make the problem to be very easy. So here is Moreri Math. We are giving you Moreri Math to your doorsteps. Now, what did we do here? Let's recycle it again one more time. If the English is a problem, we have to read a lot of books. And again, don't just go and read a lot of books. We provide you a library to read a lot of books. We have our online library that goes from level 0 to level 29. We have to familiarize ourselves with the English language, okay? Now, 3 negatives, that's -3, 1, 2, 3. That's what we have. Please illustrate, write it down like this at home. Do some action. And then we need to remove, take away, minus +2, but we don't have +2. So we introduce +2, we introduce the 2 +2 to this -3. But when you introduce it like this without taking it out again, but how do we take it out? We don't take it out by removing it. No, keep it. We take it out by introducing something that can take it out. For every positive, introduce a negative to take it out. Introduce a negative to take it out. So now altogether, we are having 5 negatives and 2 positive, which is the same as -3. Okay? Because we know these will cancel, and then we'll still have our 3 negatives. And now our question of taking away 2 positives will now be possible. 1, 2. And our answer is what is left? 5 negatives. So please do this again. Let's take one more example just to be sure. Okay. Now, let's take an example with some big numbers so that you tell me, teacher, do I need to write all these negatives all the time? You don't need to. Let's do a big one. Let's do -29, -29 minus +10. -29 minus +10. Now, how do we go about this? -29 minus +10. How do we go about this? Now, -29, please. We know -29 is -20 and -9. You see, these are all the total negatives that we have. -20, -9, -29. Now, -20, we can break it into -10 and another -10. You see, -10 and another -10. See? Okay. Now, they ask us to remove +10, but we don't have +10 here. We don't have +10 here. Now, what can you do? You bring the +10. Bring the +10. But what do you need to do equally at the same time? You have to remove the +10 with a -10. Very good. So it means you've added nothing. If you owe somebody 10 and you have 10 to give them, you've added nothing. All right. So like that, we can now say, hey, do we have a positive to remove now in our -29? Because this is 0, this part is 0. We still have our -29. So yeah, we have a +10 to remove. So we just go and remove the +10. And now your answer now is what? -10, -10, -10. So those are -30. And then with -9, that is -39. So your answer is -39. So again, if you are a senior student, you say, oh, teacher, I don't want to be writing all these small negatives like this. How many of these things do I need to write? And then cancel it out with 2 positives. How many of these things do I need to write if the number is too big? Yeah, we just deconstruct the numbers into tens and ones, okay? Exactly, if you're having tens and ones. If you're having 100 tens and ones, we'll also break it into hundreds, tens, and ones. And everybody is a negative. When you do -29, it should be -10, -10, -9. So those are 2 -10s and 9 -1s, okay? So that is how we deconstruct that. So again, we can still work like that. All right. So now let's take one more example and we'll be retiring this session. Let's see if we can take another example that will make things really weird. Okay. So what if we have 10, which is positive, and then we have to take away -10? We have 10, so you can say +10, or you remove +10 minus -10. Okay. So how do we do that? We have +10, and we don't have any -10 to take away. You don't have any -10 to take away. So introduce the -10 so that you can take it away. But to balance it out, put a +10 to balance it out, right? Oh, somebody is smiling. You already see the answer. And then now let's go to the question. +10, that's what we have. Take away negative 10. We did not have it, but we bring it as 0. So we bring it and we cancel it. So now let's take it away. We take it away. And what is our answer? Positive 10, another positive 10, and that gives us positive 20. So your teachers will tell you, if you see two negatives, make it a positive. I tell you, these are not two negatives. This is minus, which is a verb, and this is negative, which is an adjective. And that is what they mean. If you don't do like this, then some of you will really struggle when you go to the bank and the bank tells you, hey, your bank balance is $120 and it's written as positive. Another child goes to the bank and they say, hey, your bank balance is negative 120. And now you begin to confuse why there are now negatives and positive in front of numbers. Because your teacher somehow got you not to be reading the negatives and the positive. You just say, yeah, 2 minus, yeah, 2 minus is positive, this one like that. So again, before you even get to what the teachers are saying, some of them are trying to help you because they want you to go and pass exams. But here in Moreri, I want you to become an engineer and a scientist who understands these concepts and then can know the difference between the symbols and the real meaning so that you can be practical in the society to help change Africa. That is our mission here at the Moreri Enterprises. So again, leave some comments. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell to be updated with any new post or new lessons. And please tell us your difficulties so that I'm going to make a Moreri video about those difficulties. And again, leave some problems in the comments and then ask other people that are other students and ambassadors of Moreri to try to solve it, and also practice how to read your math questions correctly. Negative, positive. If there's a plus, you read your plus. If there's a minus, you read your minus. So this question in front of us is positive 10 minus negative 10, and the answer is positive 20. I'll see you next time. It's been a pleasure here at Moreri Enterprises. So we've had some things like this, we've had this, we've had that, 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 and we've had, and that's the end. Okay, so those are some of the slides we worked with today. Okay, and we've come to the end of our lesson. Bye-bye. Again, Engineer Moreri with you. See you next class.